In this video, I'm sitting here with Ivan on Tech. He will be sharing some very valuable knowledge about 3 coins that are very, very interesting to him right now. I'm very excited. You should be excited. And we're also going to discuss Ethereum and Bitcoin. And if you think that that's something interesting, then I think you should different video. Hello guys and welcome to the moon. My name is Carl and I'm going to bring you this cryptocurrency video and this amazing interview with Ivan on Tech. So first of all, Ivan, how are you doing today?
Very, very good, Carl. Good to be on your channel. It's a great honor, great pleasure, and so good to share some alt Ethereum, Binance chain, all kinds of alt knowledge with your community. So I hope you guys will enjoy it. Always big pleasure, big fun to be here.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, Ivan, he promised to show us 3 coins that he thinks are interesting fundamentally and technically and all of this stuff. So we're going to go into this in just a few minutes. But first, I want to talk about Ethereum. I know that I have many Ethereum fans on my channel. And personally, I'm also an Ethereum fan, actually. I hold Ethereum, as you all know already. And there's one question that I have actually to Ivan. And I think many people are wondering the same. And it's all about Ethereum 2.0 and the Ethereum staking. And should we be staking Ethereum? And what is the risk of staking Ethereum? So if Ivan, can you maybe elaborate on this? Like, should we stake Ethereum? How much of our portfolio should we stake? And what is the risk?
Well, I think it really depends how long you want to hodl it. If you're here for the next few years and you hodl ETH, then it makes sense to stake it. Because the thing is, in order to stake, you need to go from ETH1 to ETH2, and you cannot go back. That's the problem. You can still, some exchanges allow you to trade ETH2, so I think Kraken has a way of still getting out of that position. But, normally, if you are to just do it yourself, when you go from ETH1 to ETH2 right now, you cannot go back. So you basically need to wait until ETH2 becomes the Ethereum. So that will probably happen later this year, partially at least. So it only depends, how long you want to hodl it. And the returns they're okay. It really depends on how many people are staking, but it's up to 17%. I think you can get staking ETH, and it's okay. But the cost will be that you basically go from ETH1 to ETH2. So it's really up to you and to you guys who are watching that. Is it worth it or is it not worth it? Because there are other ways to get that return as well in DeFi and in other ways, looking at yield farming, looking at liquidity providing. So for me, it hasn't been this clear case. Yes, of course, let's stake ETH. For me, it hasn't been. But I know some other people, they want to experiment, they want to be the first ones to stake. So for them, it makes sense. But it's just looking at the other opportunities where you don't have this lockup situation. So I personally have not been doing that a lot, staking ETH.
Okay. Are you doing a lot of yield farming, and do you think that people should be is there an easy way to do it? Because I know that the people that do this heavy yield farming, they're doing this a full-time job, right? But
yield farming is always risky because it involves in many cases jumping onto the new hyped farm, and this was way bigger during the summer. Yield farming still exists, and the new projects that launch, they want to incentivize their community to provide liquidity on Uniswap. So basically, when you have a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, you need the community to lock up their coins for the trading to happen more smoothly, for there to be a liquid market. So projects normally tell their community, hey, go provide liquidity, we will reward you with some tokens for doing that. So that's what you could do, but we've seen some hacks there. So it is not for the newbies, okay? It's not for the newcomers to go and do yield farming. There are easier ways to do that. For example, you can do it through Curve. Curve is a way where you, with the easy interface, you just deposit tokens and they do everything for you behind the scenes. But please be aware that all yield farming, of course, has a risk, because all percent you gain, it obviously has a risk. So that's something that I would not recommend to newcomers, but of course try. I mean, if you are a newcomer now, you need to start somewhere. So go to Curve, try there, maybe go to Yearn Finance, try there, so you know what it is. I think it's important to at least try, take 1 ETH, 0.5 ETH, experiment, do some stablecoin yield farming experiment. So Curve and Yearn is maybe the easiest way to start for newcomers. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. And let's maybe go into the coins that you are looking at, Ivan. So top 3 coins right now.
Right. So one of the things that I've noticed a lot recently is the growth of Binance Chain. You guys should really be paying attention to that, because a lot of new coins that launch and perform well, they are on Binance Chain. So one of the coins that we've been covering a lot on the channel and that I still like is PancakeSwap. So you can just go to CoinGecko, search Pancake, because this thing does a lot of volume. I think soon PancakeSwap will be having more volume than Uniswap. Why is it so? Because on ETH you have very high fees right now, and the reason is because people who use ETH, they normally do big transactions. Look, if you've done a 10x in your trade on Uniswap, you don't care if the fee is $10 or $100, even $500 you're okay with, because you just did a 10x. So we have a lot of the audience that uses ETH is whales. It is people that do high volume transactions, and when you transact big volumes in one transaction, well, you are okay with higher fees. Now, Binance Chain, what they do now is that they create this niche, they carve out the niche for the community that does a bit lower volume transactions, and there also you can have lower fees. Also, they have a different consensus, so it's not only that it's lower fees, but just the fact that you have lower fees is more centralized. So it's something that you can call CDeFi, centralized DeFi. Basically, it is of course more centralized because you have it's called Binance Chain number one. Number two, the way consensus works. So you cannot really compare it to Ethereum on the base level, but in terms of functionality, people don't care. Hey, people still use it. People still transact on it. People get the same functionality out of Binance Chain as they do with Ethereum. They can still do swaps, they can still do DeFi, they can still do lending. So it's kind of like Tether, people know that Tether is super centralized. Maybe it's a ticking bomb, who knows, Maybe it will blow up at some point where there is no backing, but people still use it, you see? So the same thing right now is on Binance. Like, people know it's more centralized, but they don't care. Why? Because it's the same functionality, but just lower fees. And so that's where a lot of action has been. So that's why personally I've been hodling PancakeSwap quite successfully, and I still think that there is some opportunity there. So that's number one. Number two is 1inch. 1inch is aggregator, DEX aggregator on ETH, and that one has been seeing a lot of growth, and it's basically number three most used DeFi app in the world, 1inch. So
that's interesting, because when I look for DeFi coins or any token, whatever, I always want to find things that are used, that people are actually using. Yeah. There must be some kind of adoption, because there's so many of these projects out there that have zero adoption, and in my opinion, yes, with zero adoption, I'm not interested. But if there is adoption, I'm interested. So continue.
Yes. So go to DApp Radar, and this ranking, it changes all the time. And then if you go to, look here, I'm gonna bring up for the viewers. I know you, Carl, will not see this, but the viewers can see right now. I go to DApp Radar. This is the rankings of the different Ethereum DeFi apps, and you have number one Uniswap, the most used DeFi app. Number two, 1inch. Okay, so it is bigger than SushiSwap in terms of daily users. All right, and normally it jumps. Sometimes SushiSwap has more users because it's day by day. And in terms of price, in terms of how it has been performing, it's still way below Uniswap. It's still also way below SushiSwap. It's also way below Synthetic still, I think. So that's why looking at what is actually used, 1inch is used. So why is 1inch used? Well, because they aggregate DEXs. So if I want to do a large order, I don't want to go straight to Uniswap. Why? Because it might not be liquid enough. If I go to 1inch, 1inch will aggregate liquidity from Uniswap, from SushiSwap, from all kinds of other different DEXs, and I will get way better execution price. Some people, when they use 1inch, they complain about the fee, because the fee is indeed higher on 1inch, because you do more complicated contract execution, because you need to aggregate liquidity. So it's more complicated in terms of operation on the blockchain. So yes, the fee will be higher on 1inch, but if you do a big transaction, so this is the use case here is mostly for people that do big transactions. If you do a big transaction, it doesn't matter if you pay, $100, $400, $600. If your execution price is better and you can gain $6,000 in better execution, it's okay. So that's why there are so many users using 1inch. So I would say PancakeSwap is carving a niche on Binance Chain for people that want lower transactions. 1inch is carving a niche on top of ETH for people who want even better execution price, but are okay with a bit higher fees, and is the second most used app right now on ETH. Now, the third one is Matic, but it's no longer called Matic. It's called, what is it, Polygon? Let me actually check Matic. They rebranded to Polygon, exactly. So that's the third one that I think is very, very important, because it is layer 2. And it is getting now adoption. Look, many projects that I know about are now expanding to Polygon, Xmatic. So layer 2 is the next frontier for this whole Ethereum space, because the fees are very high. You know, whenever I say something about ETH, I get 100 comments, hey, the fees, look at the fees, look at the fees. And I get that, look, I get that. And it's good that we have, for example, Matic or Polygon now solving that. And the most important thing with all layer 2s is that they get some kind of adoption fast, because it doesn't matter if you have layer 2, nobody uses it, but Polygon, we do see actual adoption. So that's good. Yeah, so to summarize, those are the three that I'm looking heavily into, and I have been for already for quite some time, but that I still think have a lot of things to do in this bull market. Now, previously on my channel and everywhere, we've been diving way deeper into the smaller coins, but recently, personally, I have been moving funds from the smaller coins into the bigger ones, into ETH, into Bitcoin as well, but also into bigger, you know, blue chip coins, like, for example, 1inch, like Matic. Why? Because at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of gains in the smaller ones. I mean, it's mind-blowing. We've seen 10x's, 100x's, even more. So my personal strategy now is to move more and more funds into the blue chips and into Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I just want to say that there's a big difference since we did the video last time, which was a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago, because the market has been mooning, you know, it's crazy. Also, I try to participate in all kinds of opportunities when it comes to new projects launching, because when new projects launch, whether on Polkastarter or on some other, you know, I mean, normally they up until now they have been promoted. So I'm trying to get into them as well. So in terms of, you know, this new coins and low cap coins, I'm trying to get at the start, you know, on launch pads and so big. But I'm not gonna FOMO into some kind of coin, you know, now when it is a low cap, and because look, we've seen so much growth in low caps. I think the tide is gonna turn a bit back into ETH, because ETH, for example, has not been doing a lot.
But what do you think? Right now we are in this kind of altcoin season, altcoin summer, and everything is pumping. And it always moves in cycles. It goes up and then it goes down. What do you think? How many more months or maybe weeks do we have of this before we see a big correction?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You never know. One day you wake up, the market is minus 30%. And the good thing is, we did see a rehearsal for this scenario already during the summer, when DeFi collapsed by 80%. I mean, DeFi did like 100x's during the summer. It was absolutely insane. It all collapsed in like a week, okay? And how did it? Because you never get a clear top signal, you know? You can just see how crazy people are in the market. You can just, you know, sense a bit how much gains we're making, how crazy people are, how much people are FOMOing in. And based on that, you can try to make a, but look, nobody knows, it can be tomorrow. But the way it will happen is that you will most probably not get a top signal, because it's never that you get a clear, okay, time to sell. And then you have a few days to sell, take a bit of coffee break, you have time to sell. No, normally it is, you wake up, it is minus 20%, minus 30 to 20%. So you think to yourself, it's not good, but probably it's just a correction. Well, the next day you wake up, it's another 20-30%. So now in aggregate, we're soon 50% down. But, you know, it happens like one day 30%, another day minus 30. Next day you think, okay, so maybe now it's a bigger correction. It becomes a bit depressing. The next day, another 15% down. And all in all, this is what happened during the summer. We had a few of these days, minus 20, minus 30. Then we bled all the way to minus 80, like combined loss in just a few weeks, you know? So it will never be that, hey, time to sell and everyone gets to exit, okay? No. Yeah. So that's why personally I'm taking profits all the time. It's very important for everyone.
This makes so much sense. I'm doing the same. I think taking profits is so key, especially when, I mean, if you have a coin that goes 10x, simply taking out 10%, you get all your money back. It would be absolutely irrational not to do that. And you could even take out 20, 30%, and then you're actually in massive profits. And then if you lose 90% of the rest, then honestly, that doesn't really matter too much. But taking profits so that you're safe is so important. And I think it's very good that you're talking about that, because so many people think that everything is just going to 100x and then another 100x and another 100x. Like, this is not happen. It doesn't happen like that. And
Yeah, so it's just a big shift that, and you see, the problem is that most people in the space right now have not witnessed that rehearsal we had in August, okay? Because most people have come in January or maybe in February. Just recently that For example, we see BitBoy blow up to now 500,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Also very amazing. Big shout out to BitBoy, by the way. He's doing, I know how hard that guy works. It's absolutely insane. And also our channel, your channel. I mean, everyone's views are mooning, and it just happened overnight. Almost overnight, it happened in January. So I feel that we have a lot of people now. They have just entered now. They have not even seen the drops we've had just in August. So yeah, that's why I'm personally very careful. It's good, of course, that we're mooning, and I'm never, completely out, completely out of the alts, even the smaller alts, but taking heavy profits, very, very important. But we can still do a lot. Look, that's the thing with crypto. You don't want to just move everything from one coin to another, because that coin you just dumped, it can still do a 10x. So you better have at least something there. So it does at least something, So
what is your distribution right now between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins? Like, what's your portfolio distribution?
Man, I had 80% in Bitcoin and ETH not that long ago, and then 20% in alts. Now it is close to 50-50, but I need to adjust that, because alts have been mooning like hell, so I need to adjust that. I need to go back to 80-20. So 80 Bitcoin, ETH, and then rest alts. So we will, because I'm almost certain that we will see a shift back to, for example, ETH. ETH has not been doing that much, honestly. It's a lot of focus on the small caps, but ETH has not been doing that much. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity there. And yeah, in terms of other ones, it's I'm taking profits. I'm just we've seen so much good growth. We can still see a lot, but at least a bit of profits into ETH. To me, it's a good time right now.
Yeah. And what do you think about Bitcoin then? Do you think we're going to reach 100,000 before the end of this year? Because I know that was your prediction when we were talking way back in Davos. I know, like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, you were talking about $100,000 for Bitcoin, and I think you said $10,000 for Ethereum or something like this. So when do you think $100,000 for Bitcoin? Is it before the end of this year?
It could happen, absolutely, at the end of this year, absolutely. Look, now Peter Schiff is bullish. We discussed it in my video as well. So I'm like, why is he bullish now? It's better that he is bearish, but it's not good that he is bullish. But I think, 100K now, especially after 50K, it's very possible. But it was interesting what you said on my channel. Guys, by the way, go watch what Carl said on my channel about Bitcoin, where you said that we could have a big correction before 100K. But it's not even that far away. To do a 2x, Bitcoin just did a 2x just last few weeks. So to do a 2x now, it's not. It would not even surprise me if we do it before the summer. But like you say, we might also see minus 60% along the way.
Yeah, it is interesting how close we are to 100K now. Like when we're at 10,000, it seemed still like a big thing, like 100,000. But now it's just a 2x, like you say. It's absolutely mind blowing. But
it's also sorry to interrupt, but it's also a bit dangerous because the brain becomes greedy. Just looking at the total market cap right now, it's 1.5 trillion. Okay, I remember when we were at 300 billion. It was 300. I think it was 300. Yeah, 300 billion. It was so difficult to get to 300, 350. Now we're soon gonna snap to 2 trillion, and the brain now thinks, hey, it's not a lot. Let's go to 5 trillion. Let's go to 10. So that's the danger, because we always move goalposts. Our brain becomes more and more greedy. That's the same with all kinds of alts. Just to get a nice 20x in the past, it was insane. And now when you look at all of the different coins that have done it, it's like, why not 100? People are like, hey, why is it not 100? Why is it only 20? Man, I'm disappointed. I thought we're gonna go 100 guaranteed.
Yeah, we're going into this euphoria stage of this classic bubble phase, right? I think
yes,
there's a lot of euphoria out there, FOMO, and people are thinking that this is like an endless summer. But yeah, like you say, it's very risky, especially Peter Schiff coming out being bullish about Bitcoin. I think that's the best counter indicator we can have.
It would be so perfect. So perfect if it's bear market now. It would be too perfect.
It would be funny, actually. It would be so funny.
Too perfect.
Yeah. Yes. He would hear that forever and ever and ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ivan, for sharing your knowledge. I think it's very cool to have you on the channel, talking about these coins, like fundamentals because altcoins, it's such a endless forest of programming and like these things that
Yeah.
many people don't really understand, but you do understand because you're a programmer. And I think it's very cool that you're sharing your thoughts. And let's do this very soon again, because I know that people love to hear about altcoins. I tend to focus
sure.
more on Bitcoin. I still focus on some on Ethereum, but very cool to have your perspective on it. So please do it. Let's do it again soon. And do you have anything else to share with my audience?
No, all good, all good. Thanks a lot, guys, for being here. Thanks a lot for listening, and it's been an honor to speak about alts on this channel. So yeah, Carl, thanks a lot for having me.
Perfect. And guys, of course, Ivan's channel will be linked down below. Go and subscribe. Click bell button. Bell button, very important.
Bell button and exactly, exactly.